Welcome to session 15 of 25 in the Low Limit 1-2 Poker Challenge. My name is Ara, this is Ray. Thanks for watching our video. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe because we got some good stuff coming up. So today's video is all about Ray. He had another difficult session on the 1-2 table. So first of all, why don't you tell him like what your like mood was like after today? Because like he had another rough day at the 1-2 table.
Yeah. So wow. After 15 sessions, this is very, very disappointing for me. I mean, I'm up literally like one buy-in. Like I expected to be up way more by now.
Yeah. So on the charts, I'm up 2,600 and change. And he's up $290.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, that's very disappointing. I definitely would have thought I'd be up at least 1,500, if not over 2,000 by now. So, I think I'm definitely getting in some unfortunate situations, and I don't think I'm playing my best. So I am going to, right now, let all of you know that we have 10 more sessions to go. I am going to play my best. I'm going to concentrate and take advantage of every situation over the next 10 sessions. I think I'm going to play slightly longer sessions. I feel like I owe it to the challenge because I'm very disappointed at where things are right now. And
we actually do have the marathon coming up, so that's going to be one super long session. But one thing that I was talking to Ray with off camera was kind of like what he hinted at, that he's not really paying attention. So I think most of you know that I am a former professional player, and I kind of do have an unfair advantage over Ray. And one thing that I was talking to him about off camera here before we started the video, just general giving him advice, is a lot of times it looks like I'm not paying attention. It looks like I'm on my phone. It looks like I don't know where the blinds are. It looks like I don't know if I'm in the big blind. It looks like I don't know who bet or whatever. And a lot of players like mistakenly think I am not aware of the situation. I don't know what's going on. But in reality, I'm actually very, very, very aware. I almost always know exactly what's going on, all the relevant information I need to know to keep my average at $30 to $40 per hour, and make enough money from poker to live on. So one thing that I was kind of semi-criticizing Ray, well actually I was criticizing him, is that he was in a situation where when we're at the table, we do advocate having fun. And I think there are a few situations that, we're having a good time and Ray doesn't quite capitalize on the situation in a way that I would have, or in a way that a professional player would have, because he might have overlooked, like, oh yeah, I forgot that guy raised in early position, you know what I mean? And he forgot like one, critical thing, or, he might have been talking to the dealer and he didn't realize the guy straddled, and he might have thought it was an early position raise. So I don't really have a specific example to tell you guys about, but I think Ray said in general, like, you're gonna like be like more focused on I know poker gets boring after a while if you get a never-ending string of 9-3 offsuit, but then when an opportunity arises that you can capitalize on, and you might have middle pair against a guy that is bluffing a little too frequently, even if I'm not paying attention to the hands I'm not in, I'm always very, very aware of that guy that's bluffing the other guy, and he played this hand this way against that guy. And I think Ray has been kind of overlooking those situations, and it gets me in a situation where I can capitalize on kind of weakish hands or situations that you agree that's like,
yeah, no, I agree.
I
think
going for.
One thing that happened today was we showed up. I'm definitely tired. I mean, we played till 8 in the morning yesterday. Now we're playing late again tonight. I was falling asleep. I was doing things to keep myself interested. So we were actually watching one of our friends play an online poker tournament just to see how she did. And while that was going on, I did miss a few things at the table. Nothing huge, but just little things that I should have been paying attention to, but I was so bored and tired that I needed something to keep me going. So maybe we shouldn't have even played tonight. Not that that's an excuse, because even being a little bit tired, I still should be better than the field. I think it all started with my third hand of the night. I literally looked down at pocket kings. I didn't know how the table was. Come to find out, I ended up getting pocket kings. The pre-flop bet was $20 from the guy under the gun. The very next guy called $20. They were kind of joking, so it seemed like the second guy was the action player, but I hadn't been at the table long enough to know. It came to me, I looked down at kings, so I went to 80. I really thought 20 from under the gun looked like an ace-king kind of a bet, and I really wanted to try to trap him. He insta-folded when I went to 80, but the guy who was joking and laughing insta-called me. He put in $80, and he was ready to see what the flop came. I thought the flop was wonderful. I mean, for me, the flop came out, and the flop was 9-4-3. I've got pocket kings. I'm only really scared maybe someone flopped a set. But I like it because if he put $80 in, I'm thinking he's got tens through queens. If he had kings or aces, he would have just put me all in. I only had 200.
Yeah, I agree. Realistically, like if you are losing, someone only has a set.
So I really thought that he had tens,
a good
jacks,
98%
or queens.
of the time you're winning.
So on the flop, I shoved all in for, I believe it was, well, it was exactly $120 because I bought in for 200. Maybe it was $2 less because I had to post one of the hands. So probably 118 I shoved all in for, and he called, and he didn't seem excited about calling, but he called, and again, it still made me think that he had like tens. And the next two cards come out. It ended up being a deuce and an 8. I thought they were pretty safe cards. He flips over 5-6. Comes to find out, after that hand, he said that he's won 4 hands in the last hour with exactly 5-6. So that was his fun hand of the day, and he ended up taking my $200. So right there is down 200. I bought on another 200. Nothing really happened. Dwindled away another 75, 80. I added on again. So now I was in for $500. And then this is the hand that I wasn't, I probably could have lost a little less, but I did get trapped, and I got trapped by Ara. So I was, and I believe, what was I, in the cutoff?
I think you were, no, you were on the button,
so
I was on the small blind.
So I was on the button, I raised on the button, and I had pocket nines. So a couple limpers, and I only went to $12 because the two guys that limped were definitely players that were not going to call big bets unless they had big hands, and I did want them in the pot. Ara calls 12, 2 other guys called 12.
So actually I want to talk about this hand like as it goes, like from your point of view and my point of view.
Sure.
So from my point of view, I had pocket aces in the small blind. So this was a really interesting situation because me and Ray play against each other very, very frequently. So I knew that if I were to re-raise him to about $36 or so, he would almost always just fold his cards. The table would fold, and I would probably end up winning the $12 from Ray. So I think this is one of the, and this situation happens more than people think, but I think this is one of the situations where it is incorrect to raise if you have a hand like pocket aces, pocket kings, or ace queen.
Like
I probably would have re-raised with ace king because I don't mind putting the pressure on with a non-pair hand, but I think aces is too good to probably get a whole bunch of folds from the table, and I can kind of use it as a trapping situation. As you'll see, it actually did work in this case.
Sure, and although I did have pocket nines this time, I would say my average raising hand on the button when there's a couple limpers to me is probably going to be something like queen 10. Like anything from queen 10 that's going to be my average because I'm going to raise with 7-8 suited.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so
queen 10 is average.
Yeah,
so
on the button his range is really wide.
He re-raises, of course I'm folding almost all of the time. This time I happen to have a pair, so if it goes to 36, of course I'm calling 36 in position on the button. But with a hand like queen 10, I'm most likely just letting it go.
So I think 2 other people called.
Yep.
Right?
So we've got.
So now the pot's about $50.
About $50. Yeah. And the flop comes out 8, 7,
rainbow,
deuce.
Yep.
Me on the button, to me, it seems like a very good flop.
So I had aces, so I just bet right out. I think that was the normal thing to do. I bet out $20. The opponent right next to me in the big blind, he called the 20. The guy on the other side of the table from me, who was in position, probably the hijack position, he called the 20, and he was a very active player. And then Ray was on the button with pocket nines.
So with pocket nines in that situation, I have to think most of the time I'm good right there. He bets 20. I'm scared of Ara because he just bet right out $20. The other two guys, when they just call the 20, probably put them on an 8, and the other guy probably has some kind of a draw, whether it's you know, a pair and a backdoor straight draw, or he actually has an open-ended straight draw, something like that. So I thought raising was definitely the best play, and I can find out, you know, see what Ara does and go from there, because he does have 2 players behind him.
So you made it $75.
I made it $75, right? So 55 on top, which I thought was a pretty standard normal raise. And for 1-2, if somebody comes over the top, you know they're serious, and pocket nines probably is not good, because it wasn't one of the crazy guys that was one of the other 2 players. They were pretty, you know, normal players.
So from my point of view, when he goes to 55, first of all, I think aces is, in some situations, a good enough hand to go with. I don't necessarily think I am beat every time Ray raises me when I have 1 pair. So I definitely considered that he had a set of 2s, a set of 7s, or a set of 8s. Those were 3 of my guesses. He also could have 8-7 suited. So there were 2 combinations of 8-7 suited, because there was 1 8 of whatever and 1 7 of whatever. So that leaves 2 combinations of 8-7 suited. But I also think he could have worse hands than aces, like pocket nines, pocket tens, pocket jacks, pocket queens, pocket kings, and he could also have draw hands like 9-10 suited. There are 4 combinations of 9-10 suited, and he might even raise with hands like 9-10 offsuit, so he might count all 16 combinations of 9-10. He could also have all 16 combinations of 9-6. He wasn't the button, no one showed any interest, so he might be raising with 9-6. I think that's a little weaker than a hand he would usually raise with, but who knows? You know, sometimes people have hands you don't think they have.
And
also
5-6.
Yeah, you could also
5-6
have,
suited is a hand I would raise on the button with.
5-6 suited, so we're going to give 4 combinations of 5-6 suited, 4 combinations of 9-6 suited, and maybe all 16 combinations of 9-10 offsuit. But I thought there was probably a decent enough chance that he only had a hand like 9s, 10s, jacks, queens, or kings. So I decided to call the 75. Both of my other opponents folded. The turn was probably a beautiful card. It was a deuce. So that means if he had 7-8, I am now in the lead. And it also reduces the chances that he had a set of deuces. So, you know, I'm not scared of that hand anymore. Instead of 3 combinations of pocket 2s, now there's only 1 combination of pocket 2s. So I decided that now the situation has changed slightly, and I am pretty sure on average my hand is going to be the better hand. So I decided to basically put Ray all in for, what did I bet, 110 or something?
No, you bet 75.
Oh, I bet 75 again?
I
Okay.
had 102 left.
Okay, yeah, so I basically bet like most of his chips. And it's just a goofy little thing to do. It didn't matter if I bet 100 or 75. It's basically the same thing.
I did not feel, at this point, I definitely did not feel good about my hand. In a different situation, if I wasn't already down, which just doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense, because I should be making the right play no matter whether I'm up or down. Folding is probably almost always the best play here, because how often is 9s good?
Yeah.
It's not like there's a chance that he has like a pair and an open and a straight draw. It's just, it's not possible. So he's not gonna bet 75 right there when I already raised on the flop with a straight draw. So what am I really beating? Am I hoping he has ace-8? I mean, I don't even think he probably wouldn't be in with ace-8 in the small blind unless it was suited.
Like, you could think, how would I react if I was the one that had 7-8 with the 2 pairing? How would I react if I was the one with ace-8? Yeah, so I could have hands like ace-8, king-8, but I think it's a little bit less likely.
Yes, I probably should have just folded for the $75.
And why don't I like kind of wrap up this video with the story that I told Manny? Is that a good idea? So I was driving to Atlantic City. This was maybe 7 years ago. I was driving with my brother to Atlantic City.
Well, let me just tell him. So anyway, I called the $75.
Yeah, he lost the last $100.
And then on the river didn't help me. I was drawn to basically just 2 outs, so didn't help me.
It's gonna be okay. It went to
he puts in the last $27. At that point, I mean, I'm getting 20 to 1 on my money. So obviously I put it in and I lost, and I left the casino slightly miserable.
Yeah.
But I knew we had to make a video, so I figured this is one of those times where life is brutal, but I also did a little bit of it to myself.
So-
I should have left with the last $100. When we talk about the worst play of the day and people just throw away the last money, I kind of just threw away my last $102. I could have just walked out of the casino down $398 instead of down $500. So
let me tell the story about the difference. It kind of goes with like a different way of thinking, like when you're an amateur player and when you're really taking poker seriously. So in No Limit Hold'em, we always get bad cards. So my brother told me, as we're driving to Atlantic City, he said, if there's one thing you could tell me that will turn me from a losing player, break-even player, into a winning player, like what would you tell me? And so I said to him, in Hold'em you always get bad cards. So you're going to get 9-3 offsuit, then you're going to get Queen 7 offsuit, then you're going to get Ace Deuce offsuit, then you're going to get this and that, and everything is going to be like horrible. And the bad players complain about the cards that they get, and everyone gets bad cards. It's Hold'em. It's 2 random cards. It's just that's just what happens in Hold'em. So you're going to get 4 hours straight of getting bad cards. And then finally, you're going to look down at pocket queens. The guy ahead of you is going to raise to $12. You're going to re-raise to $42, and it's going to fold around. And then the guy that originally raised to $12, he's going to shove it all in for $200. And then you have pocket queens. This is the best hand you've seen in 4 hours. You're going to call the $200, and you're going to lose all your chips. And I said, that's the difference. When you finally get those pocket queens, they look like pocket aces. And you're not realizing that in that situation right there, when you 3-bet, you are gaining plenty of information so that when he 4-bets, the tight guy 4-bets, he has pocket aces, and you can't say, oh, well, it's the best hand that I got in 4 hours. Like, I had to go with it.
you can say it.
Yeah, you can say
But
it, but that's just justifying to yourself why you are losing at poker. And you shouldn't be justifying to yourself why you are losing at poker. In every single situation, you should be capitalizing on that opportunity to make the best possible decision at that moment. And in that situation with my brother, the best situation, even though pocket queens looks like you just won $1 million when you look down at pocket queens after getting 9-3 offsuit all day, the best thing that you can do is say, okay, there's a very good chance my opponent has pocket aces or pocket kings, so the best play is just to fold. And that is one of the big differences why I do win a lot of money at poker, because when those really annoying situations happen, but I think that I'm beat, I tend to just fold my cards and live another day. I am aggressive. I play a lot of hands, so I can let one go. And I think that was one that Ray probably should have folded, and I think the annoyance of losing kind of got to him a little bit. So we will, anything else you want to say? Or
No, like I said, I mean, after 15 sessions, I mean, again, it's only been a month and a half or somewhere in that ballpark. So I'm not discouraged at poker at all.
I think it's only been like a little over 2 weeks, actually, since we started the
maybe
challenge.
it has been.
We've been playing a lot of days.
Actually, I think today's 3 weeks exactly.
Okay.
Now that I think about it. But I'm not miserable. I mean, 3 weeks to be break even sucks. But I know for sure that over the next couple of months, there's no way I'm going to be down money. So I'm gonna think of the low limit poker challenge starting right now, and I'm starting with a $200 plus start. And over the next 10 sessions, I am going to do my best to hopefully get my average. I mean, I know we came up with what we were hoping for before we started the challenge, but right now, my goal, especially because we play a lot of short sessions, will definitely be to be up at least 1,500 at the end of 25 sessions. So over the next 10 sessions, I want to be up a minimum of 1,300. And I'm going to really play well and concentrate and do everything I can and everything that I should be doing as a winning poker player to make that happen. The bad beats, I'm just going to think that, you know what? They've all happened in the last 15 sessions. And for the next 10,
oh, please, I got enough bad beats.
there's no more.
Yesterday, I got enough bad beats to cover his bad beats for the whole 25 sessions with that guy that was high at the table. So I think the NBA the Vegas line for this competition, I think I'm about 100-to-1 favorite now. So I don't think you're realistically like trying to win the challenge now, because I am a few
I'm trying to
thousand
save
ahead.
face right now.
But yeah, he'll probably. So I guess the rest of the challenge, what we're gonna like hope you guys look for, is again like how that Ray handles this situation, because I think a lot of people have went through this where they went through a couple of bad days, and they've lost hundreds of big blinds, and it's kind of like how you deal with those situations. I actually was watching Damon on Shark Tank today, and he had a very good quote that kind of applies here. It's 20% of what 20% of it is what happens, and 80% of it is how you react to what happens. So I think for this challenge in particular, I think this would be really good for you guys to watch how Ray reacts for the next 10 sessions, because I definitely do believe that over the next 10 sessions he will hit his long-term average. So it'll be good to see, and we have it all documented on camera, so you guys can see what happens. I mean, we put the videos on YouTube. You can always go back and watch what we say. What did we say 20 sessions ago? So this is like video proof of what we're doing. So I don't think I said my final number. So the final numbers for session 15, I was up 473. You were down 500. Yep. And that brings us to, I'm doing this from memory now. We put it in the Excel chart. I'm up about 2,600 and change, I forget exactly. And Ray's up, I think it was 290. Yep. So I have about a $2,400 lead as of this point.
And although things haven't gone well in the last 15 sessions, like we said yesterday in our last video, if we play tomorrow or the next day, and all of a sudden the 5-10 no limit table is the juiciest one in the place, we're still gonna go over there and play. Like, I'm not scared that I'm just gonna lose all my money right now. Like, things haven't gone well.
Yeah, a guy that made a mean comment in the cash poker group. I'm not scared to lose at 5-10. I just don't want to lose $4,000 over and over and over again. Why is it the one guy that comments always leaves a negative comment? Like, I'm not scared to lose 4,000. Who the hell wants to lose 4,000 over and over again? I've done it over 100 times. How many times have I lost 4,000?
A bunch, definitely a bunch.
There's been 100 times in my life that I've lost $4,000. There's been a bunch. I've played a significant amount of days in Vegas, over a year at Borgata. I've lost $4,000 many, many times. I just don't want to over and over again. There's been plenty of times I've won $4,000. It's not like I always lose. I was a professional. I paid my bills with this, but I don't know.
I do think that one thing you need to do is when you're losing, you need to make sure that you're still playing good, because the last thing you want to do is take this losing mentality to a higher limit, and then you're really going to be like, what the hell did I just do?
Yeah, that's true. It is hard to jump. It's actually hard to remember the day in Vegas that I lost 4 buy-ins when Stevie was sleeping behind me. I lost 4 buy-ins at the 10, 20, 40 no limit table. Phil Locke was at the table. Phil Locke and Jennifer Tilly, I was playing with them. But I got Kings versus Queens down 2,500. I got Ace 10. I had pocket 5s versus my opponent had Ace 10 on an Ace 10 5 board. And we got it all in. And my opponent caught an ace on the river to get lucky at me. And another 2 situations that I don't remember quickly enough to tell you about it right now. So I found myself down $9,000 that day relatively quickly. Like within an hour or two, I was down $9,000. And it was a very bad idea to jump into a 1-2 game after that, because I lost an additional $300 after that. So that was mentally something that I struggled with. After I played high limits, I found it very challenging to win at low limits after that.
And it's good to get the money in good, and it's good to know that you got the money in good, but you got to remember, Sklansky dollars do not pay the bills.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, have a good night. We will be talking to you probably in a couple of days.
Yeah, and so hopefully on Wednesday, we're going to upload the session 16 video, and we're both going to have great news. Hopefully we're both going to be up $1,000. So we'll have a very positive and sunny video for you. So again, give us a thumbs up. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.